Hi and hello everybody, it's Fern. Welcome back to another Planty video. Thank you so much for joining me. So I am back home from my week of concerts. Last week was amazing, incredible. I went to see Billie Eilish and the Eras tour and had the best time ever. But now I am experiencing the post-concert, post-Eras tour hangover / depression hour. And I figured the best way to combat that would be to chat about one of my favorites genus of plants in my whole collection, begonias. I love them so much. That is not news if you are a frequent watcher of my channel. I'm obsessed with begonia. I think that they're so stunning, so unique, really easy to grow, like more easy than most people think, and very underrated. So I love to talk about mine and show them to you. And I haven't done an updated begonia collection for 2024. I think it's been around a year since my last one, and there's definitely been changes, and I've definitely brought a lot of new begonia into my collection. So today we're going to be doing a show and tell of all of them. I'm going to talk about all of them, and I have actually ranked them as well. Roughly. It was hard to rank them because I feel like all of the ones I have right now, like I just love them all. And honestly, I love most begonia. So it's hard to order them like that, but I tried my best. So I'm gonna start off. I mean, we're gonna go from my least favorite to my top favorite, but like I said, I love them all. So it's not like the ones at the end of my list I don't like. If I didn't like them, they wouldn't be in my collection. We're gonna start off with some that are kind of unranked, and I'm just grouping them together at the beginning of the video here to show you because there's just a few begonias in my acrobar that honestly I've just been neglecting. My acrobar cabinet, which was a stunning begonia cabinet, really went through a rough patch a few months ago and turned into a little bit of a begonia graveyard. So yeah, there's just a few plants that I really need to repot, give some attention to. They're kind of in rehab mode, so I thought I would just share with you, get those ones out of the way first. So these are more like terrarium type begonia, and they need a little bit more higher humidity. Most of the begonia in my collection are more hardy and can be grown in like regular room conditions. So I'll definitely point that out as I'm speaking about each one of them. But we're gonna start with this one. So this is begonia scapigera or scapigera. I'm not really sure. Honestly, I haven't really seen this one a lot or heard of it a lot. I hadn't even heard of it until I got this one. I don't know why though, because it is such a cool begonia. I've only ever grown this in the acrobar cabinet. So that ranges from, I mean, it depends when it was watered, but the humidity in that cabinet ranges from like 65% to like 90%, I guess. So it's not like it's not like 100% humidity or anything, but this is what it looks like. Now this is such a cool begonia. It almost has like a pilea kind of vibe with these round, like almost like lily pad-esque leaves. They have a really beautiful sheen to them though. I love the kind of teardrop shape. I feel like this is such a unique begonia, and like I said, this is kind of in the grouping of plants that I need to repot this. I need to figure this one out because it's just kind of been neglected. It has a darker border too. It is so pretty. Also, I always love to hear if any of y'all have any of these plants, like what your experience has been, any tips, anything you've learned, what conditions you grow them in. Especially the ones that aren't as common. I always just love to hear your thoughts. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of this begonia, so this is definitely going to be on my list to get repotted soon and just, you know, get growing because it is such a unique plant. I don't know if I've ever had this flower, to be honest with you. I can't really recall, but it definitely has just a stunning shimmer to the leaves that can I speak today? I don't think so, that the camera is not picking up, or probably isn't picking up, but seeing it in person, it is just stunning. And yeah, I just think it's a really different one and a really cool one. So that is the first one that I'm gonna share with you today. And then similarly, another one that I don't know why I haven't potted this up yet. I've had this for over a year now. I think that this is called, of course I don't have a tag for it anymore. I think that this is called Begonia Cleopatra or Cleopatra. I will of course have all the names on the screen, but like look at the colors and that pattern. It is just, what an incredible plant. This is so cool. The roots are insane. Like I really need to get this potted up. Don't ask why I haven't gotten to it yet. I don't know. Like I said, that acrobar cabinet, it just really ended up kind of going through a lot of, it just went downhill. And then once it started going downhill, I just really started neglecting it. But one of my goals for the new year is to get that cabinet back up and looking nice, because it's so stunning to have just all of these super eye-catching begonias in there. But yeah, this one is so gorgina. I love it. And I really need to get it potted as well. And then the other one that I'm going to talk to you about, another one that I need to get potted up. This one looks like it's very well rooted in a sphagnum mix, maybe sphagnum and perlite. Now this is begonia Lyman Smithii. This was kindly gifted to me by Natasha, Planted in Platinum. She loves this one. And what I've learned about this one, so mine has put out all of these leaves that are kind of like green. Very descriptive. They're also fuzzy. I was just thinking about how they're fuzzy on the back. Like it's such an interesting begonia. But this is what the more mature leaves look like, but the more juvenile leaves have spots on them. And I didn't know that. So my plan is to cut this back. I mean, I need to get it repotted, but I also want to cut this back so that I can get some of those juvenile leaves coming in again. And that's kind of a common thing with begonias. Often the juvenile form looks a lot different than the mature form. And unfortunately, in a lot of the cases, they can lose their characteristics that make them more interesting. But if you just cut them back, you can maintain those more juvenile leaves. Oh my gosh, the fuzziness like comes off of this. Oops, maybe I shouldn't touch it. Do you see that? It's kind of like a staghorn fern. It's like covered in this peach fuzz, and you can see where I was rubbing it, it like came off. That's kind of crazy. I probably shouldn't disturb it. But yeah, this is a really, I'll put photos of what the juvenile form looks like. But yeah, I really need to get this one sorted out because it's so cute when it's, you know, not looking strange and neglected like mine is. So yeah, another thing to do for the new year to get my begonias all sorted out. And then I also grabbed this from the acrobar cabinet because I just needed to take it out. This was another attempt at the begonia, oh gosh, what is this called? It's the really pretty like iridescent one. What is it called? It's completely slipping my mind right now. I think it's the name of a place. Oh, it's gonna bother me. Anywho, I'll have it on the screen, but I've tried to grow this one several times now, and it always just melts on me, which is really annoying. So, oh my gosh, the name, it's on the tip of my tongue. No, I don't know. Yeah, it is just nothing now. I would like to try this one again, but I'm also just like, why can't I grow this plant? Like, if I try it again, is it just gonna croak? I don't know. So those all live in my acrobar cabinet. Now the acrobar cabinet, I have a whole video on it back when it looked nice, so I'll link that down below if you want to go check it out. But I just have a Barina T5, just like one of the 10-watt Barina lights. Yeah, I have a layer of leca on the bottom to help keep humidity in, and I've tried to weather strip it a bit, but honestly, I just need to take that thing apart, deep clean it, and kind of redo it because it doesn't hold humidity as well as it did before. So yeah, that whole cabinet just needs some TLC. Sarawak. It's Sarawak. Okay, so the next one that I have to show you, actually the next couple are very new to me. This is begonia. I think it's called Black Mamba, but I could be wrong. This was sold as like, gosh, I don't remember, Black Swirl or Black something. I think it's Black Mamba. Apparently there's a difference between Mamba and Mambo. And yeah, there's several that kind of look like this, but this is the really dark velvety leaf with the kind of like swirl shape. And then it has a bright, like coloring where the petiole attaches. I don't know if there's a name for this like specific area, but yeah, it's so stunning. Now this came to me in pretty rough shape, to be honest. I got this off of Etsy, but since begonia are super easy to rehab in most cases, or at least for most begonia, I knew that it would just bounce back. So I've just been slowly removing some of the more damaged leaves, which were these ones kind of in the center, and then I'm getting, you know, a lot of the nice new growth like this around the edges, but it's just so pretty. I'm a sucker for a goth plant. I love black plants, dark foliage. I just think that it is so cool and so unique and just really different from anything else that I have in my collection. It's also a Rex type or rhizomatous begonia, which I find are fairly easy to grow. They grow like crazy, honestly. Like this is putting out 1 million leaves right now. They get pretty big and bushy. They don't tend to grow upwards like cane begonias do, which I'll show you a cane begonia momentarily. But yeah, I found them pretty easygoing. This just lives in regular room humidity. It sits on my Vitro shelf under Barina lights, and I think it's stunning, and I can't wait just to continue to grow it out a little bit. I've only had this for around a month or so, so it really is still kind of recovering from, you know, shipping and just like the less than desirable condition it arrived in, but it's already just starting to look amazing. So yeah, I'm really excited about this one. Can't wait to continue to grow it out. And then another newer one to my collection, I got this at the same time as the previous one, but from a different seller. This is Begonia Libercii. Now, I had seen a few people post about this one over the past like year or two, and I finally decided to pick one up for myself. So when they're in their juvenile form, they have this stunning kind of silver pattern on the leaves, but as these mature and grow, they lose the silver and they get just like a nice deep green velvety leaf, and they're so pretty. I love the really like sharp leaf shape. I'm a really big fan of that kind of leaf shape in begonias. I think that they look so cool. So yeah, I really do love this one. It's very new to me, however, and I think that normally this is grown in higher humidity. The seller did say that this was acclimated down to 40%. I think that this actually came from Charmaine's plant, because I got this from Plant Happens, which is Jing's shop. But I think that this originally, it said from Unplant Parenthood, I think. So yeah, that's pretty cool. But yeah, I honestly don't know a lot about this begonia. I have just been growing this on my Vitro shelf, same conditions as the last one, under a grow light and regular room conditions. But I'm thinking that I might move this to a cabinet or something, because even though it was acclimated down, I just feel like it will do better if I give it cabinet conditions. So I think I'm gonna do that. Like, it's been having a hard time pushing out the new leaf. It's like crispy. So yeah, I think I might just pop this guy in the cabinet and it will just have a bit of an easier time. But yeah, so excited to grow this. And even though the juvenile form is stunning, I'm really excited for the more mature form. I think that that like velvety leaf is going to be so gorgeous. I'm a sucker for a velvety plant just in general. So a velvety begonia is just chef's kiss. So yeah, there's the Libercii. Next is one that we repotted not too long ago, honestly, and it's been doing amazing. So I'm really glad to be able to give a positive update. This is one of the few plants in my Acrobar cabinet that is doing well, so I'm very happy about that. This is my Begonia Lyalii, and I call this my cilantro begonia because it just reminds me of cilantro or parsley or something with its leaf shape. It's so cute. I love this one. Like, I'm obsessed with this begonia. And again, this is a plant that has a really stunning sheen to the leaves that, of course, the camera just doesn't do justice, but in person it is just so cool looking and so pretty. I really love this one. I grabbed my shears so that I could just remove any leaves that I see as I'm talking about these plants, because I know a lot of my begonias kind of need to be cleaned up a little bit. I think that that just shed a lot of the old leaves from when I repotted it. But oh my gosh, you can even see, just a sec, you can see the baby leaves growing in. Like, they're so cute. Do you see them? Oh, do you see them right there? Like, this plant is adorable. I love it so much. I've only grown this in higher humidity, so I don't know if it could be acclimated down. I also have this growing in pond, which I don't have many of my begonia growing in pond. In fact, this is one of the only ones. I can think of one other one off the top of my head, but I don't know why I don't put more of them in pond. I should. I think that that will be something for the new year that I really move towards, because they do appreciate having, you know, just keeping up with consistent watering with the semi-hydro setup. So yeah, there's the Lyalii. It is such a cool and unique begonia. If you're looking for something different, I highly recommend this one. I've also propagated this several times and it's been like on the brink of death and it's come back. And yeah, I think it's a really resilient plant and gorgeous. So yeah. Okay, next on my list is the begonia gray feather. Now this also came from Charmaine back in the day, which is funny. Like a few years ago, she sent me a piece of her begonia gray feather because I really wanted this plant and couldn't find it. And I'm so glad she did, because I still, to this day, I don't think I've ever seen this for sale. Maybe I just haven't been looking, but I've never just like noticed this for sale anywhere. This is such a cool begonia. I don't know why I tend to have a bit of a hard time with this one. I don't know if it's just me, but this would have ranked way higher on the list because this is a really stunning begonia. It has so many features that I love. First of all, it's a cane type begonia, so it grows upwards like this and it has, you know, more of that angel wing kind of traditional begonia leaf shape. Very easy to propagate and generally easy to care for, which is, it just kind of confuses me, like why I tend to have a difficult time with this. I mean, first of all, you can see on some of the leaves that there was a mishap. I think that that was part of the fertilizer situation I was telling you all about in the Terrarium repot. I think that I accidentally burned some of my plants in the Millsbow wide cabinet, and this was one of them along with some of the Terrarium. But the reason that I really love this begonia and that I wanted it so much is because it is like a shiny, like velvety leaf cane begonia. And then it has these like red backs, and it's almost reminiscent of Philodendron verrucosum. Like it has the same kind of look, the same kind of coloring and sheen to the leaves with the red backs and everything. So when I heard Charmaine say this like a couple of years ago, that is when my obsession with this plant started. And I think it was her that said that. But yeah, it's just gorgeous. I'm gonna keep trying to grow it nicely. This is honestly one that I should consider moving to semi-hydro. Maybe I will move this to its own self-watering pot next year. It would be really easy to just take some cuttings and start them off in pond or something. But yeah, it's a really vigorous grower. Like it's always putting out new leaves and it's a really cool begonia. I don't know if it's ever flowered for me, not that I can think of, so I don't even know what the flowers look like on this. I would be really curious to see though. Yeah, this is just a really cool one. I love it a lot, and I have hopes and dreams of having a nice, lush, bushy pot of this one day, so we'll see. It is a goal for me to work towards. Next, we have a really colorful one, and all the leaves are pointing like straight up, so it's kind of hard to show. This is my begonia Purple Haze, and again, it is that like rhizomatous rex type begonia. And mine is definitely looking a little bit worse for wear, which is why it isn't super high up on my list again. A lot of the begonias that are kind of in this section of the video, like not super high on my list, it's just because I've had a bit of a harder time growing them. And I think that this is one that once it gets going, I think it's gonna be great, but it's just had a bit of a hard time. And a lot of that was due to me underwatering. And then I decided to repot it into this Rousseau pot in hopes that, you know, it wouldn't be drying out as often. And I think it's just adjusting to that repot. So I'm hoping that once it settles in, it will start really taking off for me. But like, look at those colors. It is so, so pretty, so up my alley. Like, I love these pinks and purples. Oh my goodness. It is just, it's beautiful. And these leaves are huge. Like, this is bigger than my hand. I don't know if it comes across on camera, like how big the leaves are on this plant. As you can see, mine is trying to flower as well. These aren't open. It had more, but it dropped them all. So I don't know if these are ever gonna open. That would be really cool if it did though. I love begonia flowers and I love seeing the different flowers that come out on all of my begonias. So I hope it will. But yeah, this is, I think, maybe a newer leaf, and that's really pretty. Like, look at that. It's so gorgeous. If you're looking for like a pinky or purpley begonia, I definitely recommend this one. It's just like, it's so stunning. And I know mine doesn't look immaculate right now, but just trust me, it's gorgeous. And I don't think that it's difficult or anything. I think it was just, you know, because of me, of course. It's never the plant's fault. It's always my fault. Like me not providing the conditions or me not keeping up with watering or fertilizing or whatever it is. But yeah, this is actually a really healthy looking leaf. I don't think I'd seen this one yet. This kind of reminds me of Sis's discolor, like just the way that the coloring on the leaves and everything, especially when it's more silver, like this one. But yeah, really stunning begonia, and I'm excited to just kind of continue getting it on the right track here because she deserves it. Okay, so moving further into my list here, we have another newer one. Actually, a couple newer ones are coming up right now. And this is one that I think could be one of my favorite begonias in the future, but it's just, I've only had it for like a month, so I don't have fully formed thoughts on it yet, but so far I'm obsessed with it. So this is my begonia Hadakoa Silver, and yeah, it's a very silver begonia, very like, look at it too, it's so fluffy. I have such a full one. I was shocked when I unboxed this, but not only is it silver on the fronts, it is like this stunning kind of red color on the backs, maroon, if you will. And yeah, it's gorgeous. I love this plant so much, and I can't wait to grow it out some more. Like, look at how pretty that is. It's just, oh my gosh, that color combination really does it for me. This has been settling in really well here. I have it also potted in one of these Rousseau pots in just a DIY mix. Most of my begonias, when I pot them up, I put them in a mix of soil, perlite, and vermiculite. So that's what almost all of them are in, and they seem to like that. It's more dense than my aeroid mix because I want it to hold on to a little bit more water. Begonias have fine roots, so they don't need something super chunky. Obviously, you don't want it to be like completely non-draining, but I do like to give them a bit of more of a dense mix. But yeah, this one's been doing awesome. You can see little leaves coming in everywhere, little baby leaves. It's growing. This does feel like it needs a water, so I'm gonna bring it to the sink after this, but it's been doing amazing. And yeah, I can just see myself becoming completely obsessed with this plant because I love silver plants, and this one is very silver. It is my most silver begonia. I am also curious about the begonia, I think Looking Glass. That one is really silver too, if that's the right name of the one I'm thinking of. But yeah, it's just gorgeous, and I love how just full and fluffy it is. So pretty. So yeah, that is my Hadakoa Silver. Next, another one that I got at the same time and from the same shop as the Hadakoa Silver is the begonia Rex Pavonina. Now, if you saw my walkthrough, that I think is probably the last video that went up actually, this is not looking too hot, but I will say it's really bounced back a lot. Like, it's looking better. So I think, I don't know, maybe it was just adjusting to its repot. I'm not sure. Again, it's in the same setup as the last one. So this is a really cool begonia because it, in certain lighting, it gives a blue sheen. So some begonias have a feature that gives them this like bluey iridescent kind of glow because it helps them capture more light in low light scenarios. So I have this plant growing in not a lot of light because, well, it just looks really cool in low light because you get to see that blue sheen, but it doesn't need to be scorched with light, which I really like. I really appreciate that. I'll insert clips so that you can see more of the color that this plant is able to show, but it is just so stunning. And not only that, like, obviously that is so cool, and that's definitely the reason that I wanted this plant, is because of its ability to look blue. but I just think that the leaves and just everything about this plant, like the leaf size, how lush it is, I think that it is so stunning. Like, I really just love it. So yeah, I'm really thankful to have this one in my collection. I'm getting lots of baby leaves coming in. Also blooms that never really opened up. Did they open up here? Not really. They just kind of fell off. So I think that maybe those were stress blooms. They started coming out after I received this in the mail. But I think that it's starting to look, or I think it's starting to do a lot better now. So it's really settling in. And yeah, it's just such a unique and stunning plant. Begonias are so cool, you guys. Like, they just have such interesting features, and they're also different and so gorgeous. So yeah, and the backs of these ones are also maroon. Beautiful. So yeah, there's the Rex Pavonina. Okay, we have another one from my Acrobar cabinet, but I had to put this one higher up on the list because this used to be a big, beautiful plant, and I know what it can look like, and I know that I was obsessed with it before. And even though it is sad that it's like this, like, oh my gosh, it's sad that it's this like spindly thing now. It's happy as well because this plant is growing back, thank goodness. And I was so worried I was gonna lose this one, like I did the Sarawak, and like I did honestly several of the plants in my Acrobar cabinet. But no, the Muna, she's coming back stronger than ever. So this begonia, this is a hybrid, I'm not sure what of, but it has a really kind of like galactic celestial pattern to the leaves. This leaf has obviously seen better days, but oh my gosh, it is just such a stunning begonia. And this is one that I didn't expect to love as much as I do, but I just absolutely fell in love with it. Like, it is so gorgeous. There's little baby leaves coming in, which is so nice to see. And it's flowering up here, as you can tell. But yeah, I recently potted this into pon from a propagation I had in an attempt to save this plant. And yeah, it's rooting and it's growing, and I'm just so thankful for that. The Muna is so cool. I highly recommend. I've only grown this in a higher humidity situation. I think it is more of a, you know, terrarium cabinet begonia. But if you have those conditions, I highly recommend looking into this one because yeah, it's just so pretty. I love it so much, and I'm so glad that this is the one of the ones that has survived the disaster of the Acrobar cabinet. Okay, next we have a really pretty one and a really popular one. I see a lot of people growing this one, and a lot of people that call this their favorite begonia. Even people who aren't into begonias, I see grow this one and absolutely love it. And that is totally justified because this is a absolutely stunning begonia. This is Begonia Sinbad, and it's like super speckly. Like, you can see the really fine dots on it. It looks almost like snowy or something. It's just, oh my gosh, it's stunning. But then it also gets really pink. So mine's not super pink right now because it isn't growing in really high light or anything, but these can get quite pink. I mean, you can see some of the pink in like the center and the veining, the back's pink, but this gets this really just like, I don't know, like incandescent, ethereal, just really whimsical look to it. This is definitely like a fairy type begonia. It is so gorgeous, and this thing flowers really prolifically, so you get stunning flowers coming off it as well, and it's just, oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. And the reason that this isn't higher on my list is just because I do tend to have a little bit more difficulty with it. It prefers higher humidity. I have this growing in my Millsbo wide IKEA greenhouse, but yeah, it can just be a little bit more finicky. I have restarted mine from cuttings. That's why it's not very big, because it's just getting going again. But if you take care of this, if you give it decent humidity, if you give it good light, and if you give it if you're consistent with watering, this will be a stunning plant. Like, it's just a matter of keeping up with its needs. And sometimes I'm not the most consistent plant parent in the world. So this is another one that I should have done semi-hydro for. I don't know why I didn't. I need to mix up a new batch of pon, and then I'm probably going to consider putting several of my begonias into pon because I just think that they'll do better with that like consistent moisture. You can see a baby leaf coming in there. Yeah, this is just such a cute begonia. I highly recommend. It's gorgeous. I only have good things to say about it because I know that when it's, you know, getting crispy and stuff, that it's my fault. So yeah, begonia Sinbad, she's stunning. Okay, so we are moving into the plants that I am like very obsessed with. I mean, the Muna, the Sinbad, love those so much. That kind of marks the beginning of like my favorite begonias. So the next one that I'm going to talk about is my begonia Malacosticta. Now I love this begonia so much, and I know she looks a little janky. I'm in the process of starting this one over. She got really thirsty. She grew way close to the light in my my Millsbo Tall IKEA greenhouse cabinet. So I decided to take cuttings, which are currently rooting. This is like the main plant that I just grabbed to show you, but I have cuttings currently rooting of this one, and then I'm going to be starting it over. This is honestly a similar story to the Sinbad. It prefers a bit higher of humidity. The cabinet conditions are fine. They're great. This doesn't need to be in like a 100% humidity terrarium. This is in my greenhouse cabinet, which, you know, is often like 70%-ish. And it's fine with that. The more important thing is that you keep up with watering. You need to be consistent with the watering, because this will dry out, and it does dry out on me often. And that's when you're going to be getting this crispy damage on the leaves. That's just from me underwatering. So if I kept up with the watering, this thing would be happy as a clam. But since it did, you know, just get pretty janky, that's why I decided to propagate. However, my neglect aside, this is just an absolutely stunning begonia. It's pink, you guys. The camera never wants to do it justice, but this is like I don't want to say velvety, but it's a very like satiny begonia, and it has pink polka dots. Like, this is actually a dream, this plant. Like, how does something like this exist? I have no idea. It is unreal, like something you would find on another planet. It's so gorgeous. But yeah, my gosh, it's so pretty. It's a cane type begonia. As you can see, she's growing really tall, and yeah, I can't wait to just get this going again, get it restarted again. I'll probably be doing semi-hydro just to try that out and see if that's a little bit better, because a lot of these begonias, they're thirsty, and keeping up with watering can be a challenge. Yeah, I'm obsessed with this begonia, you guys. I love her so much. It's such a pretty plant, like such a pretty plant. I cannot emphasize it enough. It's, oh my gosh, yeah, I love it. And in the sunlight, she's sparkly and glittery, and oh, it's just gorgeous. So yeah, she's flowered for me before as well. She's not currently flowering, but she has flowered before. Yeah, I need to get her sorted because she does not deserve to be crispy like this. I'm sorry, girl. I just checked on the cutting when I grabbed this, and it is rooting. I'll probably honestly take a couple more cuttings. Like, this thing is already getting too tall again, so I'll probably just maybe completely chop her up so that I can start a really nice bushy plant of this. But yeah, I love the Malacosticta so much. Okay, I've had to back the camera up because we're getting into some bigger ones. But the next one on my list is my beautiful begonia Lucerne. She's a little bit hard to show because, well, she originally, let me move this thing. She originally, my original plan was to grow her up this wooden stake, but this is just, you know, it quickly became apparent that this is just like flimsy. So I was like, okay, this is not gonna, you know, support this plant, especially as it starts getting taller. So I kind of stopped attaching it to the wooden stake. It's still in there, but the plant has kind of grown completely off of it. And also a lot of the leaves are pointing upwards because this is getting some light from a Soltech light that I have mounted on the wall in the bedroom. It's really far from it, but it still, I guess, is benefiting from it because it's a strong grow light. But yeah, that's why a lot of the leaves are just kind of growing like crazy and also pointing upwards. But this is an absolutely stunning begonia. I fear that, oh my gosh, that's better. Oh my gosh, like look at her. Look at her. This is so, oh my goodness, this plant is so pretty. I can't even handle it. The leaves are huge, like massive leaves on this thing. This is a cane type begonia, angel wing begonia with the polka dots. Mine has never flowered for me, but these do give off stunning flowers. Not only do these leaves get huge, but this also is, I think, one of the tallest varieties of cane begonia. I've seen them like very, very tall before, and they just look so majestic and amazing. And then they give out these beautiful pink flowers, and yeah, it's just, oh, just such a stunning begonia, super easy going. Mine needs some care, obviously, because it's just like growing crazy. So I need to find a better way to stake this. I might end up using wire mesh again, like I did with my Magdalene Madsen. Also needs to be repotted. It's like, yeah, she needs some care and attention, but she's so pretty, and I appreciate her every time I go into the bedroom. She grows beside the bed, near some of my books, and oh yeah, she's just immaculate. I love the lucerne so much. It took mine a while to really get going. I think that this had scale at one point, which was really weird and random. And I ended up just taking cuttings of it and starting it over, but now it's doing amazing. So yeah, I love her so much, and if you love cane begonia, I feel like you need this one, honestly. It's gorgeous. Also a more common one as well, so in your local like Planty Facebook groups, I'm sure you'd be able to find a cutting from someone. Okay, next on my list is the OG, arguably the most popular and well-known begonia, at least in my collection, the Begonia maculata, or the polka dot begonia. She is a stunning cane angel wing type begonia. Mine grows on the Vitsto shelf with the Barina light above it, so it's not really facing in one direction, so I'm just gonna spin it around. It's kind of got leaves branching off everywhere, but she's gorgeous, as you can see. Beautiful burgundy backsides on this plant. Yeah, I find this begonia to grow like, I don't even know which way to put it as I'm talking to you. This way maybe? I don't know. Does it look sparse on that side? Oh, maybe this way is best. Yeah, this thing grows like a weed, and I've pretty much just been fertilizing my begonias this year with Miracle-Gro. So just Miracle-Gro plant food as directed is what I've been doing, and that seems to be good enough for pretty much all my plants, including my begonia. But yeah, this plant just grows and grows and grows. I've pruned it back multiple times. She's even in flower, as you can tell. I just removed a bunch of them because they were getting all crispy. We have a new leaf coming out beside these flowers as well. There's just something about the way that cane begonias grow. Like, they just look like the way the leaves are organized, I guess, or lay, just looks so satisfying to me. And then with the like clusters of flowers, it's just, oh my goodness, I love it so much. Also the deep green foliage with the silver spots, yeah, that really does it for me. She's got lots of new leaves over here. I find mine to be very easygoing. Again, it's just a matter of keeping up with the watering. Need my shears because I have a couple leaves that I want to remove again. But yeah, it's just a matter of keeping up with watering, and like I said, I like to prune mine. Otherwise they just, I mean, I like to prune my cane type begonias to encourage them to branch out, so that they're not just like one stalk going straight upwards. If you cut them, like, they're just going to push out a bunch of new growth, so it's not going to harm them in any way. I have mine staked up by this clear acrylic trellis right here, which is not, I mean, it's doing a fine job, I guess, but this thing has just way overgrown it. The plant is way taller than the trellis. But yeah, this is just an OG in my collection. I had a different maculata at first, and then I ended up moving and getting rid of that one, and I missed having it in my collection so much, so I ended up grabbing this one just from Home Depot, I think, or Canadian Tire, I don't know, just from a big box store for super cheap, and I just grew it out to what it is now, and yeah, I'm obsessed with her. Just a classic for any houseplant enthusiast collection, honestly. They are so rewarding to grow. Highly recommend, again. Okay, I guess we're just doing a bunch of polka dot cane begonias right now, because the next one on my list is Begonia White Ice, which is, you know, kind of similar to the maculata, but it has like more spots I mean, the name is white ice, so immediately it makes you think of like snowy, cool tones, white. And yeah, it is similar to the maculata in a lot of ways, but in other ways it's not. It has a really like sharp leaf shape, which I really love. Like I said, when begonias have that really kind of daggery, like more narrow leaf shape, I just think that that is so stunning. Look at that. And you know, obviously a lot more polka dotted than the maculata. They're different plants, so I'm not going to just compare them. I want to appreciate this one for its individual beauty. This is another begonia that is new to my collection. I got this at the same time as I got the Hatakoa and the Rex Pavonina, and I just immediately, like, my jaw dropped when I saw this. I immediately fell in love with it, which is why it's higher up on the list than those ones, just because my immediate reaction was like, I'm obsessed. And I still feel that way. I have it repotted. It's in this cute little checker pot now, and it's been settling in really well. We have new leaf right here coming in. It's given me several new leaves already. This is gonna need a better support situation. It's just kind of like bending over right now, but I wanna get it on some type of stake and also give this a prune to encourage it to branch out. But it's just so pretty. Like, oh my gosh, I love it so much. And honestly, I don't know why I didn't get this one sooner, because this is one that I would see other people have and I was like, wow, that's so pretty, but I just hadn't brought it into my collection. So when I saw it and I had the opportunity to purchase one, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get it, because I've seen how it looks in other people's collections. These can grow, you know, a lot bigger than this, and they can flower beautifully. And yeah, I'm very impressed by it. So if this is one that you've also been eyeing and thinking about, I can confirm that it is just absolutely gorgeous to see in person. I love it a lot. I hope mine flowers for me sometime. And yeah, I'm just really, really excited again to continue growing this out. So yeah, there is the white ice. Okay, so next we have probably the favorite plant that I have grown in my Acrobar greenhouse cabinet, and that is my begonia chloro. Now, this thing is just, it's growing out of control. This has definitely been like the best growing begonia in that little cabinet. There's so many leaves on here and it's branching in every direction, and I also just trimmed this because it was growing so close to the grow light. So yeah, this is just a beautiful velvety begonia. This is more of a terrarium type begonia, but like I said, my Acrobar doesn't get like super humid, and this begonia has still been super happy in there. It's so, like, I wish that the camera, you know, showed the sheen better, because it is just magical. Like, this is just, it's one of those begonias that I love the color and the texture of so much. It looks like almost poisonous or something. Like, it's just such a weird, a strange and unusual and just stunning begonia. Like, it's so shiny when I see this. It's not sunny today or anything, which is unfortunate. I can't show a lot of the shimmer of these begonias. But yeah, man, it is just so pretty. And for me, it's been easygoing. Like I said, almost all the plants croaked in that cabinet, and this one still looks like this. Like, it just wants to grow, it wants to flower, it wants to be prolific. And I really just appreciate that about this one. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Highly recommend the chloro if you have been considering getting one. It is just such a joy to grow. Like I said, my favorite begonia in that cabinet, and it is hard to choose favorites, but this one is just like so magical. I even have like little baby plants shooting out down here. Like, look at the leaves. It's just unreal. Like, it really is. It's so cool. Such a gorgeous begonia. And I know that you can pollinate these, like pollinate begonias and grow seeds and stuff. I haven't tried it before. I am curious to try it one day, but yeah, begonias, many of them do flower really often, so that's kind of interesting. But yeah, it's a little like baby leaf coming in here. It's just gorgeous. I love it so much. Even with my neglect, it still just looks, it looks so beautiful. I mean, it's growing crazy, but it's stunning. Okay, next we have one of my weirdest begonia, and of course, one of my favorite begonia. Now, she was underwatered recently, so I do have some crispy leaves, but this strange, bizarre plant is my begonia melanobalata, and this was my top wish list begonia for years before I got it last year. I've had this for almost exactly a year now. This is in the package that chloro.philes Amanda sent to me, who, I mean, I plan to be putting on the screen where I got all these begonia, so I'm sure you've noticed that I got a lot of them from her. Her plants are absolutely stunning. I could not recommend getting a begonia or any plant from her more. Yeah, she has just such an incredible collection, and I'll have everyone, and if they have like YouTube channels and stuff, I'll have that linked in the description. But yeah, the melanobalata, I was so shook when I got it, and uh-oh, my boyfriend's home. Please hold. Okay, back to begonia melanobalata. It has these, you know, crazy spikes on it. Is it focusing? Yeah, it's just so bizarre, which is obviously why I like it. It looks poisonous. It looks like it's from another planet, especially with like the bright green color it has too, in contrast to the dark spikes. I just think that it's so cool. And there's another begonia called Feryx that's really similar to the melanobalata, but it doesn't have the hairs at the tip of the, I have dog hair on my lip. It doesn't have the hairs on the tip of the spikes. Oops. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but the melanobalata has hairs that come out the tip of the spikes, which is really cool. So yeah, it is just a weirdo begonia. I love weirdo begonias. I love weirdo plants in general. So obviously I was obsessed with this one from the moment I saw it. And it is fairly easygoing, like more easygoing than you would think, but it does require a bit of higher humidity. So I mean, I hear people grow them in ambient, but I think it's people that live in more humid climates. I did try to grow this just in regular room humidity, and it just did not do well. Like, it just wouldn't grow. It really was struggling, so I ended up just popping it into my IKEA greenhouse cabinet, which, like I said, it's nothing crazy. It's like 70%, like 70 to 80% humidity, and it is perfectly happy in there as long as I don't miss a watering. When I miss a watering, she will completely wilt and then get crispy around the edges, so you can see the leaves that have damage from that, because that happened twice really badly over the last couple of months. So she's kind of recovering from that, but you know, if you're able to provide just a little bit higher of humidity and consistent watering, this begonia will do perfectly fine, and it will shoot out leaves like crazy. Yeah, I love it so much. It is just such a cool plant, and definitely one that I will always keep in my collection. I'm also noticing that mine is putting out little flower buds too, which is so cute because this has never flowered for me before. So I'll have to see if those actually end up opening or not. Okay, so we're now moving into my top 4, which is kind of hilarious that this is what I'm going to show you next, because obviously these are like my favorite. I'm obsessed with these begonias. I would never get rid of them. So this one is my begonia Thurstonii. Now, many of you know her potential and how immaculate she looks. If you need a reminder, or if you don't know, I will be putting photos or footage up of this plant when she is in her prime, which is obviously not right now because I've completely cut this one back to restart it, which is something I do kind of frequently with begonias, if I'm being honest. If, you know, I end up getting crispy edges because I've missed a watering, or if I am just overwhelmed with the plant and I want to start over, or like there could be so many reasons why I want to start a plant over, I will just snip, like pretty much down to the bottom, like very close to the bottom. I only left like, you know, an inch or two of stem on most of these, and it will just shoot out new growth, which is so cool. I find begonias some of the easiest plants to revive and to regrow and to propagate, which is something that I really love about them. But yeah, I think that this one just started looking janky. Like, I think maybe I underwatered, or it was growing too close to the grow light, or I'm not sure, I don't remember exactly, but I decided to chop her back not too long ago, and she's just kind of pushing out baby leaves. But this is a stunning begonia. It's kind of similar to in look to the beefsteak begonia. It has a very just like big, shiny, dark leaf, and yeah, it is just truly immaculate. These are not like rare and expensive, but they can be kind of hard to find. I've had a lot of people ask about this plant, you know, back when this would look really nice and I would show it on my channel and stuff, but I don't really see it for sale a lot. I think it's more so kind of one of these plants that you have to know someone, or like maybe get lucky and find it on Etsy or something, but hopefully they'll become more available because it is just truly such a stunning begonia. I have like I said, this is like a really shiny, almost like kidney shaped leaf. It's gorgeous. But there's also one that's similar to this, that's a like fuzzy form, which I think is really cool as well. I do like having this shiny one, but I do think it's cool that there's one that is like the same but fuzzy as well. Yeah, I find this to be such an easygoing plant. It's a cane begonia. I've only ever just grown it in ambient humidity. Super easy to propagate, like I said. I've shared several cuttings of this plant with others, and yeah, it's just like, it's unmatched. When it is in its full, big, bushy plant form, it is just so incredibly beautiful and eye-catching and like just so shiny, glossy, and yeah, I'm obsessed with it. So yeah, this is why it's at number 4. And again, this is like happens to me a lot with plants. It's always the ones that I don't expect, because this was just sent to me by a friend and I had never heard of it before or anything. She was just like, I think that you'll like this begonia, send it to me, and I completely fell in love. So yeah, I'm so glad that I have it, and I am so excited to be growing this out again because I get to just like appreciate it in every size again. So we're starting from the bottom, starting from the ground up, but this is gonna look stunning again someday soon. Like honestly, probably by spring, this will be looking like a nice plant again. Okay, number 3 is a big one, so I'm gonna have to back up the camera. So number 3 is Begonia Magdalene Matson. I can barely hang on to this thing. It's huge, and I don't think the lighting, give me a second. There we go, that's better. Number 3 is Begonia Magdalene Matson, which is a Begonia listata hybrid. So it has some of the really cool traits that the Begonia listata has, like the same kind of coloring, the same like fuzziness. It's like a velvety begonia, which again, I love, but it is a lot easier to grow. I grow this in just regular room humidity, and obviously it grows like a beast because it's massive. So you may have seen this recently if you watched my video where I was experimenting with a like staking or trellising system for a large plant like this. I used to have a wooden stake like taped to this pot. It was a mess. It was not working out. So I tried using wire mesh as like a panel on the back, and that's what's holding this plant up now. And honestly, it's been working really great, and it's almost grown to the top of the mesh. I will say that these top leaves are pointing, it's hard to show, because the top leaves are really pointing upwards because I've moved this so that it's under my Soltech light now in the bedroom, and obviously it appreciates the light, so it's like facing upwards. But yeah, she's just gorgeous. Like, look at her. Almost like a blue tone, and like I said, she's just like, she's fuzzy, she's shiny, velvety, and she gives adorable flowers as well. I've had this flower for me twice now, and it's so pretty. Oh my gosh, I love her so much. And yeah, she's huge. Like, look at her. This is insane, just how big she is. I have her in a self-watering pot in Pawn, because I have no idea how I would keep up with this plant if it was just in potting mix in a regular pot. That would be chaos because there's like a million leaves on this. She just grows like crazy. Like, there's always so many new leaves coming in on this plant. But yeah, I love her so much. Again, this is one that I was not expecting to love. I'd never heard of this begonia before. I just got it as a bonus in a trade and became obsessed with it. This is also one that I've never seen for sale before. I don't know, like, what the heck. Like, I guess begonias just in general aren't, or at least they seem to be harder to find and not like sold as often as something like philodendron and monstera. So yeah, I'm really glad that I got this, and it's just crazy how I was not expecting to, you know, fall in love with it. But I remember unboxing it and I pulled it out and I like gasped and I was like, what is this? So it was kind of love at first sight. But I was not expecting, had never heard of this plant before. Anyways, I'm gonna go put her back. She is not light. Okay, so in the number 2 spot, we have another begonia that I'm starting over. I know, oh my goodness, I will surely add clips of when she was in her prime, but number 2 spot has to go to my begonia Fanny Moser. This is one of my favorite plants of all time, and it saddens me that I only have cuttings to show you because, oh my goodness, you have to see her when she's, you know, a nice, lush, healthy, bushy plant, because her beauty is just unmatched, and how dark she is. I feel like the cuttings have kind of lost some of their darkness, but when this was a potted plant, she was almost black, like one of the darkest plants in my whole collection. I think the only one that I have that's darker than this one is the Black Mamba that I showed you earlier. That has more of like a kind of purpley leaning black, where this definitely has more of just a really, really dark green, but like it's close to black. Like she's dark. Again, she's not as dark as she normally is right now because she's in propagation, but you will see the clips or the photos, whatever I insert. I cut this one up because it had scale, I think, and it just was not going away. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna restart it. I didn't want it to spread to my other plants. I was just getting really fed up, so I knew she would root up easily, which obviously she has. I need to pot this. Like, this can be potted anytime. I just haven't done it, so I will be doing that soon so that she can get reestablished. You can see she's even growing, like tons of new leaves are coming out just while she's in propagation. Really, really resilient begonia. But yeah, so I chopped this up and she's just been rooting over the past probably 6 to 8 weeks, and yeah, I don't see any more scale on her, so I feel like it was the right decision to chop her. This is a cane type begonia, so she grows upwards. I haven't grown this massive, like she's grown to a decent size, but she's almost just like that sweet spot. Like it's not a huge plant, but it's not like a really small dainty plant. Like it's just a really nice kind of like mid-sized begonia, at least what I've grown it up to. Maybe they can get really big, but I kind of just get the sense that the size that mine was at is just kind of like the typical size that the plant grows to. But there's not anything bad I can say about this begonia. It is so easy to grow. Like I said, the foliage is so dark. The polka dots are stunning. The back of the leaves, maroon, stunning. So easygoing, tolerant of underwatering, like never, would barely ever get a crispy edge. Like I could underwater this thing like crazy and it would just continue being perfectly happy. The only issue I ever had was that scale problem, which was so just weird because I have one other plant that I, for some reason, has like a persistent scale thing, but I don't know why. I just have like these couple plants that will get scale. But yeah, that was like out of character for this plant, and I think it's gonna be fine once I get it all potted up again. But yeah, she's just so gorgeous if you're looking for a dark cane begonia. I've also grown the Linda Dawn and I really did not like it, so I got rid of it. But I think that that's like a dark one that is more popular, that people go for. But I implore you, if you're looking for a dark begonia, check out the Fanny Moser. I think that it is the superior option. No offense to the Linda Dawn. Okay, and I'm sure that my number 1 begonia will come as no surprise. It's been in the frame. It is, oh, let's not knock everything over. The beautiful, stunning, immaculate, otherworldly Begonia palensis, or the spiderweb begonia. I need to back you up a little bit here. I recently did a pretty intense prune of this plant. I took off a lot of leaves, but it just grows so quickly and so readily that it hardly even affected it. So yeah, this is my baby, my pride and joy, Begonia palensis. Again, another one that I did not, actually all of my top begonias, even the Fanny Moser, like I was like, oh, I'll try it out, you know, but I was not expecting to love it as much as I did. And this one was one that was just gifted to me by a local plant person, and I could not be more obsessed. Like, I can't even tell you how much I love this begonia. It is just like, how is this a real plant? This is insane. The texture and the pattern, oh my gosh. And not only that, like, I don't know, for me, like, I would think if there's a begonia that was this cool, it would be some like dainty little terrarium begonia kind of situation. But no, this plant gets massive, which I didn't know when I first got it. I got it just very small, like maybe 1 or 2 small leaves. And when even was that? A year ago? Yeah, I got it very small. And then I looked up photos and I saw that it could get so big, and I was like, no way. Like, that is wild. And very quickly mine sized up. And now I have this beautiful plant. And not only does it have the cool, you know, pattern on it, but it is fuzzy as well. It has big old fuzzy petioles, and the leaves are also fuzzy too. So yeah, just like, this is the mothership. This really is the mothership. I don't think it gets better than this, folks. And I wish that this was more accessible and easier to find. I know that mine came from the US. The person that gave it to me had got it down in the US, or from someone who got it down in the US. I'm not really sure, but I've never seen these for sale. If I ever do, I will share the link, because I know that so many of you want to get your hands on one. And I wish that I just had, you know, a link that I could send you. The baby leaves are so cute. They come in as just these little mini fuzzy things, and then they slowly expand. I don't even know if you can see. I'm trying not to dump the water in the tray everywhere. Speaking of water, this is a plant that I obviously grow in ambient humidity. It sits right here in the dining room on this calyx shelf, and it does perfectly fine with that. The only thing that is important for growing this plant that I've, you know, learned is that you need to be consistent with watering, or you will get browning. It is like resilient, I would say. Like, I've definitely underwatered this before, but if you underwater it a couple times in a row, or if you like really underwater it, then you are going to get crispy edges. So you can see this one has some crispy edges. It's not a big deal, but that is what that's from, is inconsistent watering. So I have been leaving some water in the tray so that it always just kind of stays moist, and it's been super happy with that. So yeah, it's been kind of the method. Every time I water this, I just like overfill it a little bit so that the tray keeps some water in it. So it's kind of like a self-watering, but not really. I'm just kind of like leaving it with wet feet for a while between waterings. Other than that, it's super easy going. Mine gets like, I would say medium light. This is a south-facing window beside me here, but on this shelf, like, it's not right in the window. It doesn't get a ton of super high light, especially not at this time of year, but it's still growing like crazy. It's super happy. And yeah, I'm in love with it. This is like not only my favorite begonia, but definitely like one of just my favorite houseplants, if not my favorite houseplant. Like, this might actually be my #1 favorite plant. I love it so much. I just think that is so unique, so fun, and yeah, it brings me so much joy every time I look at it. It's just so cool. So yeah, it makes me so happy to be able to talk about it and show it to you guys. Let me know if you have one. I need to know who else watches me that also has a begonia polensis. So yeah, that brings me to the end of my begonia collection for 2024. I hope that y'all enjoyed. Let me know which one was your favorite. Let me know which ones you have. Ask me any questions. I will do my best to get back to you in the comments. Like I was saying at the beginning, I feel like begonias they have a bad reputation for being difficult, and I just don't think that that's the case for many of them. I think cane begonias are super easy. I think that Rex type begonias are extremely easy as well. It's like any other plant. Like, you just can't let them dry out too much. Like, I don't know. Some of them, yes, are terrarium type begonias that need specific growing conditions, but you know, the majority of the ones in my collection that are just as cool as those terrarium type begonias don't need special conditions, and they are just beautiful and rewarding, and don't require any more care from me than a lot of my other plants. In fact, require less care because I have less pest problems with my begonias than I do with other plants. They don't require moss pulls. Like, you know, a lot of my other plants are way more demanding than this genus. So, not trying to convince everyone to get on the begonia bandwagon, but I'm just telling you because I don't want you to be missing out, okay? So yeah, hope you enjoyed. Looking forward to chatting with you in the comments. I appreciate you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!